The official words came through. Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Keenan. I'm the Director of Outreach for the College of Health and Human Performance here on East Carolina University's campus. Today, we are going to be talking about our MS in Human Development and Family Science program. I have on this call with me Dr. Lukabaugh, who is our program director, Chalini, who's a current second year student, and then Annie, who is a current first year student. And then our Director of Student Learner Success, Jennifer Cranford. Ms. Cranford's here as well. So this is going to be kind of an overview of our program as well as some insight from two of our current students and then any opportunity for questions as well. And then we'll go from there. Sound good? So Dr. Lukabaugh, if you want to kind of kick it off and give a little overview of the program.
Sure, sure. Yes. And so because we're going from 4 to 5, you're going to have people kind of hopping in and out. So sometimes we might backtrack a little bit as new people pop in. But thanks so much. There we go. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about myself and then we'll jump into the program. So this is my 32nd year at ECU, and like, holy cow, how did that happen? But yeah, I came here as a pretty recent graduate from my PhD program, and I stayed here for my entire academic career because I work with amazing faculty members and amazing students. And can't say enough about both our undergraduate and graduate program. So our Human Development and Family Science Master's program is 37 credit hours. And what that looks like is that we have 18, actually it's up to 19. We went from 36 to 37 credit hours. So it's 19 core credit hours. And those are courses that everybody takes together, regardless of what you want your quote specialization to be. And that is, for example, those like 2 theory classes, a family theory class and a child theory class. Everybody takes 2 human development courses, and that's from birth through emerging adulthood, and then you pick up in adulthood through old age. Everyone takes a risk and resiliency class, and then everyone takes a program planning and evaluation class. Then everyone takes a research methods and a statistics course. And then the first semester that you're here, you also take a first year graduate seminar, and that's with me as the program coordinator. And that's sort of just to get you kicked off in the program, help you sort of understand the ins and the outs of our entire graduate program. And then what you do is you have the opportunity to pick a specialization. Now, off the record, because it's currently in the process of being approved by our graduate curriculum committee within the university, for years we've called them specialization. We're making the shift to them actually being graduate certificates, and that you would pick that specialization, which then we're going to move to graduate certificates in a specific area, and that would be child life or what we're calling family life education. And that's sort of a child development, family science area of emphasis. So we're super excited about that because starting next year, as when those are approved, and we're feeling very positive about those being approved, you would end your graduate degree, starting again with next year's cohort, with a master's in human development and family science and a graduate certificate. And so what that looks like is those are courses that are packaged together surrounding that particular topic. So when Annie talks to you, she is a child life specialization person. So that would be like what the child life graduate certificate would look like. When Chalini talks with you, what she is completing her specialization in, that will soon become what the family life education specialization would look like. So they can give you the insider scoop of what those programs involve. And then, of course, in our program, every student has a research requirement. And so that research requirement, you have a choice. You can complete a thesis, which is a traditional, original research, or you have a choice of doing what we refer to as a professional project. And that professional project really, you have the opportunity for it to take on sort of a one of three different formats. And that can be, you can do a program evaluation, you can do an in-depth sort of review of literature and really dive into that and do sort of a really in-depth critical analysis. Or you can do a mini research project where you are sort of tying in with the faculty members' research project. And again, we go over all of that in your first year seminar. So you have, again, a lot of autonomy in terms of what you want that your research to look like. Okay, so that's like a really quick overview. But I have also a detailed handout describing everything I've just said to you that I will send to everybody who's on our Zoom meeting today, as well as a few friends who had a time conflict, couldn't be with us today, but I'm going to meet with them one-on-one. Okay, so let me pass the torch to Chalini.
Thank you, Dr. Lukabow. So my name is Shalini Barrow. I'm a second year master's student in the Human Development and Family Science Department. So like Dr. Lukabow talked about, my kind of, I guess, specialization, I'm leaning towards being a certified family life educator. So in the meantime, while the program is becoming certified, I have to go through the route of taking an exam. So basically, once I graduate, finish up with my thesis and stuff, I'll graduate with my master's in human development and family science and a certification in family life education. So luckily for future incoming folks, if you're interested in that route, you won't have to do the education component, the exam component, just because like the classes and the experience you're gonna get is gonna qualify you for that. So that's really excited to hear, truthfully. So like she says, being in my second year, I'm working on my thesis right now. And so like she said, you can choose between professional project or a thesis. I chose to do a thesis just because I love research and that's kind of where my passion lies. And so right now I'm in the thick of it, data analysis and all that good stuff. Um, but yeah, so that's a little bit about me. If y'all have any questions, want to know anything further, I'm happy to answer everything.
Okay, Annie, want to tell them a little bit about you?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Annie. I am a recent graduate from Meredith College. I majored in child development, and I'm a first year student in this program. And of course, I'm focused in child life. So, this program does a really good job of making sure that you're on the right path for everything. So, I actually did my child life practicum at Duke in undergrad. So, if I hadn't have already done that, they put you on the right track to get your practicum in the first year or so. And I'm working towards my internship right now. So I'm getting that all situated and I'm feeling very supported here. You'll get a lot of support and a lot of questions answered. If you ever need anything, Dr. Lukabaugh is like amazing to reach out to, and she cares a lot about our educational goals and personal goals and everything. So I'm getting really excited to start my thesis as well. So I'm brainstorming a lot of topics and talking to different people, trying to choose someone to be my person to help me, my mentor. So yes, but if anyone has any questions on child life or this program in relation to child life, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Annie. Okay, so I see Angie. I'm going to put you on the spot there, friend. I see your name has popped up. Do you have any specific questions for us?
I don't. I figured I would be on the spot when I looked at the
I know you're,
participants here,
I
but
know you're like, oh my gosh, they have my name.
that's okay. But I'm Angie Hodges. I'm currently a senior student at UNC CG, majoring in human development and family studies. And the flyer for this virtual session was shared by one of my professors with the group. And right now, I've been checking out different grad school programs. I'm currently doing an internship with a lactation consultant. So kind of interested in that area. And I'm also interested a little bit in counseling or therapy or something
Mhm.
like that for children. So I'm just trying to get more information for different programs to see what's the best route to go. One question I do have is the grad program virtual or
No.
remote, I would say, is it
Yeah,
or is it
no,
on
it,
campus?
it is, yes, and I should have started off with that. So thank you, Angie, for
Okay.
bringing that up. No, we are a campus-based program.
Okay.
And one of the things that we do for a couple of things, the reason we're a grant-based program. Let me start that whole sentence over because clearly it is my first day with this tongue. We are a campus-based program, and we intentionally keep our program very small because we want to be able to give the students a lot of one-on-one support. And particularly when you get to the part of doing your research, so that you have a lot of access to your faculty member when you're doing your research, but also to keep our classes small because they're all, discussion based. You'll never have a class that's probably more than 12 students max. And also for opportunities, like you said, that you're doing, your internship now as a senior with a lactation consultant, so that we really can figure out what are your goals and what are you interested in, and that we can reach out into communities really across the state and try to hook you up with our connections, the faculty members' connections all across the state, so that you can really take advantage of all our professional networking, um, so that you can really have those types of experiences that hopefully will then potentially lead to a full-time position. Because our faculty members are, I mean, many of them have been here for I'm the oldest, I'm going to say that right now. But we have a lot of contacts across the state. And so if we have a graduate student who says, I'm really interested in policy, well, we have connections, at the state level and different um, positions across the state. And so we're like, okay, let's try to get you hooked up for an internship. Or we have a grad from 2 or 3 years ago, and that's her permanent position, was with the head of Health and Human Services at the state. She worked with as that person's assistant with policy making. Yeah. And so that's that's kind of the benefit of having a small program with people who have been here for a while, that we have those networking opportunities. Um, and it's exciting because, we want our people, many people that come to our program want to stay in North Carolina. And so we want to prepare them to go out into those types of careers where they're going to give back to the children, families, and communities of our state.
Thank
But
you.
that's exciting. And I think you're doing absolutely what you need to do. Go to these listening sessions, ask those questions. Because honestly, people come to our program and they're like, I kind of have a couple ideas and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to zero into it. But that's the exciting thing of like what Challeny's doing with family life education, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. That certification comes from NCFR, the National Council on Family Relations, which is our national organization. And so you can become certified in two different ways. Either a program is an approved program, or if it's not, then you can sit for their certification exam. And then if you get a passing score on their certification exam, then you can also be certified that way. Which I think is very similar with the lactation consulting, is I think they have
It
a
is.
certifying exam as well.
They do. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And because I did a presentation with a colleague from Texas Tech, and she She's certified as lactation consultant as well as family life educator. And she does a lot of programming using those two certifications together, along with some of her parent education. Yeah. So good. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for joining us today. If you have any specific questions that pop up, please let us know.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Yeah. Jennifer, do you have any thoughts or comments that you want to jump in on?
Not too much. Hi, Angie. I'm Jennifer. I'm the Director of Learner Success and Support here.
Hello.
Not from a like program perspective, but for ECU, I can say if you were to come on campus, you would get phenomenal support. I was an out-of-state student for undergrad. I also did my undergrad and grad here. So I was looking at Coastal Carolina originally and came to ECU and never left. So I've made Greenville my home. I do love it here. I can't say enough good things, but definitely find a program that works well for you. Ask all the questions. I'm in the process of looking for a PhD or EDD program. So going to all of the information sessions, and then, our team here is very responsive. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out. If you have questions about scholarships, I handle a lot of that as well. Happy to talk with you through what that would look like if you were looking for some financial information. I don't know a whole lot, but I do know scholarships, and I can point you into financial aid if you need it. But definitely here is a resource for that if you have any questions about that. And excited for you. Congratulations on getting into these programs, and wish you the best in your future and hope to see you next year. But yeah, any questions, just relay it to us.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And I'm glad that made me think, Jennifer. In my notes here, the other thing is here and the other places that you're looking at, Angie, is also to ask about graduate assistantships. Because here in our program, we work really hard to offer graduate assistantships to every graduate student in our program in terms of at least a 10-hour a week graduate assistantship, which is what's considered part-time. And then if students are interested in a 20-hour a week, which is considered 20 to 25 hours a week, is considered a full-time graduate assistantship. And the other thing that we have is each graduate program in our department offers one tuition remission, which is for students. Are you a North Carolina resident?
I am, yes.
Okay, because we have that, and the tuition remission is for an out-of-state student. So we offer one of those per year, which is, if for an out-of-state student, that gives them the ability to be able to pay in-state tuition, which is a real
Oh,
gift.
wow.
Wish
Yeah.
When you look at that differential between
Yeah.
in-state and out-of-state costs.
Oh, yes.
And you know that, right, Jennifer?
I do, unfortunately, because in undergrad, I also went over the credit hour limit. So on top of out-of-state tuition was paying, it's fine. We have the degree now, but yes,
Yes.
out-of-state tuition is woo. But I can say there are, for me out of state, and then for other folks, there are so many opportunities for assistance with funding in ECU. It's phenomenal. I can't say enough good things. So
Yeah,
definitely
and
look
the
into
other
those.
thing that in our department, we really like to involve students in faculty research so they can, that's a real plus as they begin their own research. But the other thing is so they get experience going to professional conferences so that their names are on presentations and publications. And I think that's just a real nice jump start to, as you launch into your professional career, that you've got some presentations and or publications, and then you go to those professional meetings and you already start your networking. And we do that with our undergraduates too. And I'm not. Oh, okay. If you do some of that as well, if you've had that opportunity at UNCG as well to do some of that.
Okay. And then I do notice that both Chalony and Annie, I believe they both are doing their thesis. So just trying to collect some information. Do you see a higher number of students doing the thesis over the professional project, or
I would
is
say
one?
we typically have more students doing a thesis because we have, I would say of each cohort, we probably have at least a third of each cohort going on for their PhDs. So we always say, if you think at any point you're going to go on for a PhD, then definitely do a thesis, because almost every PhD program is going to require you to have a thesis.
Okay, thank you.
And to get back to Dr. Luckabau's, with the conferences and things, HHP has what's called the Student Professional Development Fund. And so you could request funds from this fund of program. I can't think of
Yes.
the word right now. But you can request funding if you wanted to attend a conference, if you needed help obtaining certification for an internship, things like that. That is a resource that we offer students that we're super excited for, because I don't know a lot of places that offer, just money for, professional development and to go out and get your name out. So that's something as well that we're super proud of here, that students are currently getting awarded for the first cycle of the spring right now. So it definitely helps.
And Jennifer, funny thing, because I was sending out to the HDFS MS students that I'm getting ready to start working on proposals for a conference this summer. And as I was looking at funding opportunities, I totally stumbled upon this website on the grad school webpage. All these different organizations offer travel money. So I sent it to Dr. Ballard, our department chair, and Dr. Taylor, who's in, and I'll send it to you too, Jennifer.
Yeah, please do. I was just typing it in.
Yeah, and what was crazy about it is, because one of the proposals I want to send in, we have a smaller family science conference. It's called the Groves Conference on Marriage and Family.
Yeah.
And so one of the proposals that I'm going to send in to that is about, it's on looking at, it's kind of based on the conflict in the Middle East and the impact that has on children and families. And so the proposal that I'm asking any of the graduate students that they want to be part of is helping children understand this abstract concept of war and conflict, but also for parents, how to talk to your children about this. And there's this Children's Literature Society that's got funds for travel if you're doing anything about children's literature.
See.
And I was like, whoa, friends, I'm going to apply for funds. And
that's awesome.
And it was just this random, okay, that would be a corgi barking. Means you're not part of this meeting. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. That's the electricians. So I was like, this is so exciting.
That's
I'm gonna have to
awesome.
mute myself for a second, friends. I'm so sorry.
You're good. Annie and Chalney, is there anything when you guys, because you both came from other institutions previously, was there anything that you had questions about ECU, about HDFS, about the program that we can talk about that may be beneficial for Angie or others to hear?
I'm trying to think, but you can go ahead, Annie, if you have an answer.
Oh, okay. So I know if anyone's on the child life track, like you have a required bit of courses to complete before you can do like your practicum or internship. So it was really good to know that ECU offers all of the required courses to get you started to be able to take or have the practicum and the internship. So just like peace of mind that they just have all the classes and they have all the things that you need in order to do all those things was something I was curious about.
And do you feel like you've been supported? I think you mentioned it a little bit. Prepared for that work. Okay, good.
Definitely. I did most of my coursework in undergrad, but coming back, it's really awesome. Like the amount of courses that we get here. Like I love to learn, and we're still like learning new information. So it's like you're definitely learning things and you're like doing in-class stuff, hands-on things to like build your knowledge on all the topics that you're interested in. So it is very interesting and I'm loving it so far.
Glad to hear. Johnny, anything?
I don't have any like things I wish I knew, just because like coming in, everyone was like so helpful It's like as soon as I had a question, like I had to reach out to Dr. Lookabout. It got to a point where I had to limit myself at how many times I was messaging her a day. But she was so helpful with everything. And every single person in that department, you can go to them and they're gonna help you. And if they can't directly help you, like they will point you to the right direction. And so because of that, just from the start, like I made sure to like really talk to everyone because I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do specifically. I really wasn't sure. And then like through like my grad assistantships and like just classes and just talking to professors, that's how I landed on like a certification for family life education. And like that's been now like I've been in it for like the last year and a half. Like I know that's where I was meant to be, but like if I hadn't talked to people and like really, inquire about things, like I probably wouldn't have ended up there. So yeah, like that's one thing, like they genuinely support you. And so like having such a smaller cohort too, like it means that you get to have that one-on-one with a lot of people, which is really awesome.
That's really nice and really impressive that both of you are current students, and it seems like a really close-knit relationship with faculty too. So yeah,
And I think that's again, like, I guess I can't really emphasize that enough, is that we are very intentional in that way so that students, and our faculty, it sounds so goofy, but we really like each other and we work well together. And I think that is, I think students see that we work well together. And if I don't know something, I'll go, oh my gosh, let me call Dr. Taylor. And then and Dr. Taylor will say, oh my gosh, we were just talking about this at the grad faculty council and they made this change, this change in the way that we're going to do thesis. So we're going to share it with all the graduate students, that you no longer have to put this particular element in your thesis or something. So we're constantly making sure that there's this good flow of communication. And we also tell them when we make a mistake. I think that's the thing, is that we are very open and honest with our students, like that if we don't know something or if we make a mistake or if there's been some policy change, is that, we are definitely fallible. We make mistakes and that we're learning. But again, a lot of us have been here for a while. And then but then on the flip side of the coin, we have, just one or two new faculty members, and they are like bringing all this new knowledge and energy. And they're like, well, in our grad program, we were doing this. And we're like, oh my gosh, we love that. Let's institute that in our graduate program. So I think it's kind of like you've got this experienced group, and then you've got a few newer people, and they're breathing new life and new energy and new ways of doing things. And I think that's what kind of keeps this organism, kind of in a good, healthy place, if that makes sense.
it does.
The other thing is that, each cohort has kind of its own unique nuances. You may have some students who are right out of undergraduate school, and then you may have one or two students they're in their career, and they're only going part-time. And then you may have some students who are coming back and, they're bringing a wealth of knowledge from, their work with families for the last 15 years. And that is what makes like class discussions and so dynamic. And, you're reading research articles and they're going, yes, I have seen those changes in the last 15 years as I'm working with families. And now I'm seeing the literature supporting what I have as a professional have been feeling. And it's so validating. So that's exciting too, to kind of have, each cohort brings kind of a different feel because of the dynamics of those individuals within that cohort.
Right.
Dr.
Okay.
Lookout, can you talk about study abroad just a bit? Because we
Oh,
know Dr. Taylor would be very upset if we did
he
not.
would be very sad if I didn't talk about study abroad. Yes, ECU is probably among the state university system, one of the leaders in study abroad. And so every year, our College of Health and Human Performance we have probably 7 to 8. Is that our thing? 7 to 8 study abroads. And so every department puts forth at least 1 to 2 study abroads. And this is an exciting opportunity for both undergraduate and graduate students. And this is for credit. So that can be part of your specialization, would be 6 credits of study abroad. And every summer it varies for, what those topics will be. So for example, last summer, a colleague and we went to Poland. We started in Poland, then when we went to Austria, and we ended in the Czech Republic. And we studied intergenerational trauma of families through the lens of the Holocaust. And yeah, it was absolutely life-changing. And so with that, we had both undergraduate and graduate students. And we actually spent 3 days in Auschwitz 1 and 2. We met with a Holocaust survivor that went in Auschwitz at age 3 and left at 4.5. We went to Jewish synagogues. We went to cemeteries in all 3 of those countries. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And so what we had students do sort of as we did lots of preparation up front, and then sort of their culminating paper afterwards was then to look at intergenerational trauma, looking at the Holocaust, but looking at other types of intergenerational trauma, whether it was indigenous people here in the United States, Native Americans, slavery. I mean, the genocide in Rwanda that we saw in the 90s. I mean, worldwide, we've had intergenerational trauma. Dr. Taylor has probably for the last 8 years led study abroads looking at families and communities and the interconnectedness of families and communities throughout the world. And so this summer, where's Alan going this summer? Do you remember?
Morocco and Spain.
Morocco and Spain. And so drawing, the ties between looking at what resources, communities offer families. The United States, here in the United States, because we are such a diverse country, but then looking at smaller countries. And so looking at Spain and Morocco. And so, yeah, really exciting. And students don't have to just take ones that are in HDFS. You can look across the whole university. And so again, our idea is the goal of our program, hands down, in the HDFS MS, is that when you leave this program, you have the knowledge and the skills to hit the ground running, to meet your professional goals, to launch into your career with the knowledge and the skills to be able to launch into that with confidence and competence. So yeah, thank you, Mac. Oh my gosh. I would have had to call people back up and re-record it and said, friends, study abroad. I got to talk about it.
I can't think of anything else to cover, but all of us here are always available to answer any questions we have about, or you may have about the Human Development Family Science program. We also have 2 more degrees within our graduate school for Human Development and Family Science. We have a marriage and family therapy program, and then a doctoral medical family therapy program. So those are 2 phenomenal programs as well. If students are ever interested in what is featured in other areas of our Human Development and Family Science department. So
right. Yeah, I was going to ask you that because you said counseling. I didn't know, Angie, if you had explored our marriage and family therapy master's program, or if you were
I actually have not. Oh, wait. I'm sorry if I was talking over you. It began to break up a little
you
bit.
said
Okay.
counseling, but yeah, the therapy program in our department is marriage and family therapy, which again is you would be certified, a little bit different twist than like a counseling program, but it is accredited by the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy. So that may also be something that you might want to explore as well.
Yes. Yep. I'll be sure
We,
to check it out.
I was gonna say
Oh,
we
go ahead.
have a full clinic here on campus that the therapists run and then students observe and do work in.
Mhm.
It's
Wow.
open to
Okay.
the ECU community and the community as a whole. So that's kind of the experiential lens
Mhm.
and the crediting hours lens.
Yep, absolutely. So good.
Okay. And where is the information as far as like deadlines to apply for fall and um tuition? And I think Jennifer dropped, but I wanted to get her information too, just in case.
No
Mhm.
worries. She had to go pick up her children. But in an email, I'll send out the recording to
Okay.
them and then also just like some helpful links. But Dr. Lucabaugh, do you want to talk about program deadlines and things like that?
Yes. Okay. So, and I have a full brochure. Do you want to drop, well, your information has gone straight into the grad school. So Angie, I will get your email and I have like a full program brochure um, that I will email to you. Okay.
Okay.
And, but our program deadline, well, they call it a priority deadline. It's February 15th, but we continue, that's when we start reviewing applications.
Okay.
But we continue looking at them into March.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And because and we've done that on purpose because the way the graduate schools program their deadline met is it's kind of rolling because we used to cut it off on February 15th. And then if somebody didn't have a letter of recommendation in, I mean, it stopped it. So we said, please keep it rolling because, it's not, we felt like it wasn't fair to penalize a student if, for example, a transcript didn't get in or something. But so
Right.
we start reviewing February 15th. And the process is that once your application is complete, which means all required elements, which is your statement of purpose, your 3 letters of recommendation, and any transcripts from any undergraduate schools that you've attended, then it's considered complete. And then it's forwarded to me. And then we have a review committee. So it's 3 faculty members. And then we review that. Once we review applications and make the determination that we want to invite a student for a virtual interview, then I contact you and we set you up for a half-hour virtual interview. And then once we do the interview, we have a rubric that we complete. And then we start making our decisions based on the interview, as well as your written materials.
Okay.
And then we start notifying, even while that kind of process is going on, for the students who were like, absolutely, we want them, we want to grab them before anyone else grabs them. Then we start sending out, extending our invitations for admission.
Okay.
And then as soon as we extend an invitation for admission, we will also send you the paperwork for a graduate assistantship.
Okay.
Because then in probably about the second week of March, then we start assigning graduate assistantships because again, we want to offer for our top students, the top admissions, we want to make sure they get a graduate assistantship.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good, good information. Thank you.
absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop this recording now.
Okay,
But
that's
thanks
great.
everybody for joining.
Yes.
Give me one second.